Bernie Sanders recently, his campaign, came out pretty stridently, and they've been far more vocal about the press, that they're not getting a fair shot in the press, the corporate press. And I add that part because the guy who calls himself a socialist and who's running on a campaign similar to FDR is talking about policies that may not necessarily be in their financial best interests, if that makes sense. They don't like him in this sense. MSNBC fired Ed Schultz because of Bernie Sanders, or at the very least, Ed Schultz believed that that was one of the main reasons. MSNBC has a bias. That bias is towards the Democratic Party. They don't consider Bernie Sanders a Democrat. And so they have people on there saying horrible, disgusting things about Sanders that goes unchallenged. And they allow this on the airwaves. I'm going to show you a case of this recently, meaning when Sanders is complaining about the press coverage that he's getting, the things like announcing polls and not having the polls ordered in a way that makes sense. MSNBC has done that. Or giving titles where you don't include Sanders' name in the title, even though it would be the thing that makes the most sense. It's just really weird, odd stuff. But in this case, MSNBC takes the dog whistle and throws it away and just gives one of their lunatic guests a blank check to attack Sanders. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is Soapbox After Dark. Guys, we had a great time earlier today for the Patron Appreciation, Contributor Appreciation Show. Thank you for everybody that showed up. That video has been blocked. It's been copyright striked. There's a small segment of that video where we showed Star Trek, the new series for Picard. So I'm cutting that out. That video is processing now, and the video is going back up. We're going to slice the video so you can get the various segments in case people don't want to watch the entire video. But in some cases, people actually do want to watch the entire video. So we're doing both to appease both audiences. We had a great time, though. It was a really great show. The piece of me talking about Star Trek, I got a bit excited. I love that series. And the Picard thing, you have no idea. When I saw Patrick Stewart come out on that show, and it's a continuity, meaning they're continuing with the Star Trek narrative, using Picard as the main character in this case. It's a fascinating series. So I am massively looking forward to that, and I'm probably going to follow that series on the show with a certain degree of exuberance. My wife is pushing me to put that on Black Box. Either way, we had a really great time today, so thank you all. I do those shows because I want to thank everyone for their contributions to the show, because it helps, it dramatically helps. Like in the way they blocked that video. Anything could happen. You don't have any power within the context of the company where you work. And there hasn't been a consciousness enough within the YouTubers themselves to kind of aggregate around almost a union type structure in dealing with the company itself, because as is, you have no power in the process. Some random person who's sitting there with pizza and chewing gum just demonetized your video. You have no idea why. There's no way to engage why. There's no transparency in the process. It's just bam, it's just gone. And this is not just my channel. There's all sorts of channels. One of my favorite channels, a World War II channel, they demonetized the entire channel. They got to the point of saying, okay, we're just depending on contributors because we're talking about war. And they can't make the distinction between somebody talking about war and apparently white nationalists. It's utterly astonishing. It's astonishing. All right, that's off topic. Let's get back on topic. MSNBC. Oh, by the way, if you guys enjoy this content and you find yourself coming back here often, please consider supporting this content through PayPal or Patreon. Not to mention liking and sharing the video. And of course, subscribing. We're almost at 24,000, I think. We're trying to get this to 50,000. Hopefully by the end of the year. I would want by the end of the year, but for that, we got to have a lot of more subscribers. But nevertheless, thank you for all of your support. So, MSNBC. Ed Schultz comes out and says he believes that part of the reason they fired him is because of his support for Bernie Sanders. Now, all of these people were Democrats. MSNBC is to the Democratic Party as Fox News is to the Republican Party. They are attached at the hip. Bernie Sanders is not considered a Democrat. This particular person is on MSNBC, and she's given airtime to spew outright vitriolic hatred against Sanders. But the interesting point in this particular video that tells more about her than it does Sanders is that she can't tell you why. She can't explain why. This is like that empty-headed person that was on Joe Rogan that couldn't explain why she didn't like Tulsi Gabbard and couldn't make your argument at all, even though she called herself a journalist and is supposed to be writing stuff for other people to consume. This lunatic that MSNBC allowed to put on the air.
Sanders and Elizabeth Warren next to each other will really highlight, because for me, as you know, again, I'm not the political analyst here, but just as a woman, probably considered a somewhat moderate Democrat, Bernie Sanders makes my skin crawl, and I can't even identify for you what exactly it is, but I see him as sort of a not pro-woman candidate, and so having the two of them there, like, I don't understand young women who support him, and I'm hoping that having him next to her will help highlight that, because those are the people that if I were her, I would want to say, well, why are you supporting him and not me if you're going to choose between the two of us?
This is quite possibly the dumbest thing that I've heard in a very long time. You are a horrible, horrible person. And, this perspective makes no sense. What about him do you believe is anti-woman? What the hell are you talking about? Bernie Sanders, what do you mean by that? I have no idea what you even mean by that. What about him to you is anti-woman? What has he said? What has he done? What has he put out from a standpoint of a policy position that you're coming across as anti-woman? That's not me saying it. You said it. I can roll it back for you.
What exactly it is, but I see him as sort of a not pro-woman.
Not a pro-woman candidate. What does that mean? What does that mean? What is it about him that you believe is not pro-woman? I think what you really want to say is he doesn't have a vagina.
Candidate, and so having the two of them.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what you want to say. I think that's the thing that's stuck in your throat. He doesn't have a vagina, but I can't say that. So you say he makes my skin crawl, but I can't explain to you why. I can't tell you why. The reality of it is she can't tell you why, because you will recoil at the answer if she was being honest with you. He doesn't have a vagina. He has a penis. I don't like him. I strongly suspect that she will vote for Elizabeth Warren. I strongly suspect in 2016 she was voting for Clinton. I strongly suspect that she hated the fact that he was in the race running against Clinton, that he would have the temerity to run against Clinton back in 2016, and that she's still holding a grudge like many of these people, these Clintonites, are. He makes your skin crawl because he's in the race and he's pushing for policies and he's running against the woman who you want. But think about what that means. You're choosing a person not based on policy, not based on any kind of facts or anything else. You're choosing it based on the guy's penis, his gender. That's so sad. That's so sad. Like, I don't care that Sanders is a man. I wouldn't care that Tulsi Gabbard is a woman. I don't care. What I care about, there are things, policy, that I want accomplished within the wider world. Whether you agree with me on the policies or not, fair enough. But there are policies that I want in the wider world. If you dislike Sanders because of his policies, then you should have just said so. I dislike him. He makes my skin crawl because I don't believe people should have health care. I don't believe seniors should have an expansion of Social Security. That's why he makes my skin crawl. Fuck those seniors. If that's what it is, say that. But I strongly suspect that's not what it is. I suspect that's not what it is. And I suspect the reason that you couldn't say it, which you could say, you just didn't. You just didn't. That's disgusting. And that's the analysis. If you notice at the end of that, he says, okay, we'll leave it there. Our objective was accomplished. We put a lunatic on air who we knew hated Sanders, it was going to say some really vitriolic, nasty stuff against Sanders. If that was said about Elizabeth Warren, the first thing they would have said, they would have screamed, oh God, they're bashing her because she's a woman. I could have came on here and said, she can't say because she's being anti-Semitic. He's Jewish. The reason she can't say, I mean, this sounds really anti-Semitic, her going after him like this. I mean, this is a really disgusting. I mean, she's saying he makes her skin crawl. Why? Why would a person make your skin crawl? I don't like Hillary Clinton. She doesn't make my skin crawl. There's a certain degree of hatred built into the notion that a person makes your skin crawl. Why? Why? I didn't do that because I don't think that's where it comes from. I think it comes from more of a sexist angle, if I'm being honest. I think it comes from more of a hatred that he ran against Clinton. That's where I think this comes from. I could be wrong on this. And by the way, whether I'm wrong on this or not, she can't say if that makes sense. So I'm stuck with this. I'm guessing just like she's guessing, but I don't think she's guessing. Fair enough. That's her political disposition. Sexism. Identity politics. MSNBC, though, put that lunatic on the air. And they ended it with that vitriolic attack that had nothing to do with policy, nothing to do with facts, nothing to do with analysis, nothing to do with anything else other than a person just spewing hatred against one of the candidates that trended on this thing of, why does she hate him? She can't even specify why she hates him. Good job, MSNBC. Good job. That is outright disgusting, by the way. Do you hate him because of his age? Do you hate him because he's Jewish? Do you hate him because he's a guy? What reason do you hate this man? You haven't enumerated, so you're left the audience with this notion of she hates him, but she can't articulate why. Just saying that you're a moderate, by the way, doesn't get across a reason to hate anybody. That's just specifying that you're a moderate. I have friends of mine that are right-wingers. I have friends of mine that are further to the left. The political disposition doesn't explain why I feel about a particular person one way or the other. You've spewed a vitriolic, hateful attack against one of the people in the race. And you're making a pitch in that hateful attack that other women are dumb as you are in supporting a candidate because of her gender. That just because Sanders is standing beside Elizabeth Warren, somehow young women are supposed to be as lemming-like as you and to jump on board because she is a woman. Do you realize how stupid that sounds? Do you realize how stupid they would be for that to be the case? A, you haven't identified what he has done that made him anti-woman. You haven't identified it because it doesn't exist. I think the youth of America is smarter than you. And I think the youth of America can make decisions that are not entirely based on their race, their sex, their identity, in these kind of racist or sexist or anti-Semitic behaviors where you're choosing candidates not based on any particular policy decision, not based on the content of their character or what they want to accomplish. No, off of identitarian politics. And you believe that people are stupid enough to fall for that and go that route in the debates. Good luck. If people support Elizabeth Warren because they like her policies, God bless. If people support Sanders because they like their policies, God bless. But I don't like this notion of putting somebody in office because of a gender or sex or race, because I'm telling you, the issue is class. That is the issue. It's class. Just because a person looks like you, just because a person has a vagina or penis, just because a person has your skin tone, or just because it doesn't mean they're backing you. They use those things. They use all of these attributes that are associated with them. Joe Biden is using his dead kid and pushing for a program that is worse than Medicare for All, that would leave people who are in the exact same situation far worse off than millionaire Joe Biden. They use these attributes. Don't fall for it. What matters are policies. What do they believe in? Not how they look. There is a difference in those things. There is a difference in those things 1,000 times. There is a difference in those things. Please be smarter than this hateful, despicable woman.
Them there. Again, I'm not the political analyst here, but just as a woman, probably considered a somewhat moderate Democrat, Bernie Sanders makes my skin crawl, and I can't even identify for you what exactly it is, but I see him as
the video crapped out. I guess I will end it here and we'll have to clip this video. God, man, you have no idea how much that video angers me. But man, you have no idea. I hate him for unspecified reasons. All right, we'll end it here. Thanks. It's going to be that way the entire election. He is not going to get a fair shot in the media. Don't expect it. Even though it still pisses you off. And yeah, this show is going to be policing the media, so stay tuned. Thanks all. Like and share.